There's a moment every man remembers. That one girl. The one who smiled, maybe laughed at your joke, but when you tried to go deeper, she didn't see you the same way. She didn't want you. And in that silence, in that rejection, you started questioning everything. Am I not enough? Do I have to change who I am? Why do women only want the guys who treat them like crap? You started believing this lie. If she's not interested now, there's no way she ever will be. But what if I told you that her lack of interest isn't the end of the story? What if I told you that the reason she doesn't see you isn't because you're invisible, but because you're not yet standing in the light of your true self? You don't need tricks. You don't need to be a jerk. You don't need to fake alpha. You need to reconnect with the emotional power of being a man. And that kind of man doesn't chase. He draws her in. Let me show you how. Let's clear something up right now. Confidence isn't about being the loudest voice in the room. It's not about walking with a puffed up chest, flexing on Instagram, or throwing money around to look important. That's performance. That's ego. And believe me, women can smell that kind of insecurity a mile away. Real confidence, it's quiet, but deeply felt. It's that inner stillness, that unshakable certainty in who you are, even when no one else sees it yet. Have you ever seen a man walk into a room and say nothing, but somehow everyone turns to look at him? That's not magic. That's certainty. He's not seeking approval. He already approves of himself. Too many men are taught that they need to dominate the room to be seen, but dominance isn't the same as presence. Women are far more attuned to energy than they are to noise. She's not listening to your words, she's feeling the man behind them. If you speak just to be heard, she won't hear you. But if you speak from a place of self-respect, authenticity, and grounded intention, she will feel you. Confidence is knowing you are enough, even when she's not interested, even when she chooses someone else, even when the world says, you're not the guy. Because the truth is, the world doesn't define your value. You do. You don't need to prove anything. You need to remember who you are. You don't need to outshine other men. You need to own your path. Confidence isn't built in one day. It's built in 1,000 quiet moments of doing what you said you would do, of showing up for yourself, of keeping your word even when no one's watching. That's the man she wants. Because here's the secret. A woman doesn't fall for a man who's trying to impress her. She falls for the man who isn't trying at all because he's already impressed with the man he's become. So be still, be solid, be certain, and let her come closer to that. Let's be honest. Most men were raised to believe that emotions are a weakness. Man up. Stop crying. Be strong. These phrases were repeated like gospel teaching boys to shut down, to suppress, to disconnect. But here's the uncomfortable truth. A man who can't feel can't lead. And a man who can't lead, especially emotionally, will never hold a woman's trust. Listen carefully. Women are not just attracted to status, looks, or power. They are drawn magnetically to men who can hold emotional space, not just for them, but for themselves. You see, emotional maturity isn't about being soft. It's not about breaking down at every turn or oversharing to earn sympathy. It's about owning your feelings, understanding them, processing them like a man who's not afraid to look inward. When a woman sees that you can handle discomfort without lashing out, that you can sit in pain without running away, that you can listen without immediately needing to fix, she begins to trust you in ways you've never experienced before. Because you become safe, not boring, not weak, safe. And let me tell you something. The most powerful attraction a woman can feel is not lust. It's emotional safety. It's knowing that when she's having a breakdown, you won't panic. When she's moody or distant, you won't take it personally. You'll lean in not to control her, but to understand. But how can you do that if you've never understood yourself? Emotional maturity begins when you stop reacting and start responding. When you stop blaming and start reflecting. When you stop chasing highs and start healing wounds. Women crave depth. They are emotional beings navigating an emotionally disconnected world. When you show up as a man who's anchored, steady, self-aware, you instantly stand apart from 95% of men who are still trying to win the game of dating, because emotional maturity is rare, and what's rare becomes irresistible. So ask yourself, am I still at war with my emotions? Or have I finally made peace with the boy I once was and stepped fully into the man I'm becoming? The answer to that will determine the quality of the woman you attract. Let me ask you something. Who are you when no one's watching? Who are you when you're not trying to impress her, win her over, or be the guy she says she wants? Because here's the trap. Too many men are performing, putting on a mask, learning the right words to say, the perfect texts to send, trying to act like what they think a high-value man island. But here's the problem with that. You might get her attention, but you won't keep her trust. Women are intuitive. They feel when your words don't match your energy. They can spot when you're pretending to be confident, but deep down, you're still scared she'll walk away. And the moment she senses performance instead of presence, her guard goes up. Her interest fades. She checks out because she can't feel you. So stop asking, what do I need to say to make her like me? And start asking, who am I becoming when she's not around? Because becoming is the secret. Not acting, not pretending, but evolving, slowly, quietly, authentically. It means doing the work when nobody claps for you. It means building your mind, your body, your purpose, not for likes, not for followers, but because you deserve to live a life that reflects your value. It means no longer trying to convince women that you're enough because you finally believe it for yourself. When you stop performing, you stop chasing. When you stop chasing, you start attracting. And when you start attracting from a place of wholeness, you won't even want the kind of women who only like the mask, because now you're standing in your truth. You're building a life where the real you is the draw, where your peace, your discipline, your groundedness is the most seductive thing in the room. Remember, you don't need more lines. You need more alignment. So stop trying to impress her. Start trying to express you, because the woman who truly sees you won't need the performance. She'll want the man behind the curtain. Let's get something straight. Your purpose is not to pursue women. Your purpose is to build a life so fulfilling, so magnetic, that the right woman feels honored to be a part of it. Too many men are wasting energy, chasing someone who isn't looking for them, because they haven't yet started pursuing themselves. You see, when your focus is on trying to get her, your entire energy shifts. You become needy. You seek validation. You begin to orbit her world instead of building your own. And whether she realizes it consciously or not, she feels that imbalance, that desperation, that void. But when a man is aligned with purpose, when he wakes up every day with a mission, a craft, a vision for who he's becoming, something changes. He stops reaching, he stops begging, he becomes the gravity. And that's the difference. When you're deeply invested in becoming your highest self, physically, mentally, spiritually, financially, you stop needing someone to complete you. You choose from a place of fullness, not fear. And let's be real, women can feel when a man is rooted in something bigger than her. She's drawn to it, not because she wants to compete with your purpose, but because it makes her feel safe. Because it tells her you have direction, discipline, drive. That's rare. That's irresistible. So ask yourself this. Are you constantly refreshing your texts, hoping she replies? Or are you so focused on your goals, your peace, your mission, that you don't even notice the silence? This is not about ignoring women. It's about no longer centering them. Because here's the truth. The more you chase her, the more she runs. But the more you chase your purpose, the more she notices. Be the man who builds. Be the man who creates. Be the man who knows that love is beautiful, but never more important than the reason you were put on this earth. Women come and go, but purpose? Purpose makes you unforgettable. Let's make something very clear. Possession is not protection. Control is not love. And being a man is not about owning a woman, it's about making her feel safe enough to be herself. Too many men confuse dominance with leadership. They think making a woman feel safe means locking her down, tracking her every move, or demanding constant reassurance. But what that really creates is fear. Fear of being herself, fear of expressing truth, fear of emotional freedom. But emotional safety? That's the key. It's the one thing every woman is craving and the thing most men overlook. Here's what it looks like. It's when you listen without cutting her off or fixing her. It's when you hold space for her emotions, even when they're messy or irrational. It's when your presence says, "I've got you," without needing to say it out loud. And here's the twist. The more freedom she feels around you, the closer she'll want to be. Because safety is what allows a woman to relax, to soften, to trust. She's not testing your ego. She's testing your capacity. Can you handle her truths without becoming defensive? Can you let her shine without dimming your own light? Can you lead without needing to dominate? When a woman feels safe in your energy, when she doesn't feel like she's being watched, judged, or manipulated, she opens up in ways that no pickup line can ever achieve. You don't need to tell her what to do. You don't need to remind her of your worth. All you need is consistency, emotional presence, boundaries rooted in respect, because the safest men are also the strongest. And let's be honest, any man can make a woman feel wanted, but only a grounded, self-aware, emotionally intelligent man can make her feel safe. That's the man she gives her body to, her trust, her heart. So no, don't try to own her, don't try to cage her wings. Be the ground she lands on because she wants to, not because she has to. Let's talk about one of the hardest things a man will ever have to do. Walk away from the woman he wants when she doesn't want him. Not out of spite, not as a tactic to win her back, but because deep down, he knows staying is slowly destroying his self-worth. And that's the reality no one talks about. Sometimes she's not ready. Sometimes she doesn't see your value. Sometimes she's still chasing her own illusions, and you're just not her idea of love right now. And that hurts. It really does. You gave her your best intentions, your softest voice, your realest self. But she didn't choose you. And every time you stay hoping she'll change her mind, a little more of you starts to disappear. But here's where your power lives. In walking away with dignity, not because you gave up, but because you finally realized you don't beg to be seen by someone who chooses to look away. You see, walking away isn't about giving up on her. It's about returning to you. It's about stepping back into your lane, your peace, your purpose. It's about reminding yourself, I don't chase love. I attract it through how I love myself. And here's the twist. You didn't expect. The moment you let go, I really let go. Something shifts. Maybe she comes back. Maybe she doesn't. But more importantly, you come back. The version of you that was patient, grounded, whole. The man who doesn't wait around for someone to decide he's worthy. The man who decides that for himself. And you know what? That's what often changes everything. Because when you walk away with self-respect, when you stop begging for breadcrumbs, when you reclaim your time, your heart, your energy, you become the one who's hard to forget. So yes, sometimes the most powerful thing you can do isn't to fight harder, try more, or hold on tighter. Sometimes the most powerful move is to simply walk away, not to punish her, but to finally choose you